Welcome back to Virteva's Let's Talk podcast, a show that analyzes the newest technologies in Microsoft Cloud and how to best make use of those technologies to help your business teams be successful. It's episode 20. My name is Scott Ledwan, and we've got Holly Peterson back on the show. And this week, it's going to be a fun one, Holly. We're finally getting to something that we want to talk about that's not Copilot.
Yeah.
We're talking about the new Microsoft Planner. So welcome
Yes.
back. How you been?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this was one that I think if anyone else had wanted to talk about the new planner with you, I would have argued pretty hard to be the person to talk about it because it's something that I've been leading training on for years, and I truly think that this is a change for the better.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited about it. And this is one of the ones where every time we do an advisory service engagement and we get to a certain point, oh, can you make a planner without a group? And we're like,
you can't.
You can't. It's changing. There's so much that's the same, but so much that's different.
Yes.
And we're going to really be breaking down that today and also getting into some of the enhancements that are coming with really some more Microsoft Project Editions into Planner.
And Copilot. We're going to sneak it in.
Yeah, there will be a Copilot tag at the end of the show.
Yep.
But so it's episode 20, and it's kind of crazy because as I was doing this, so for those that are watching on YouTube, you can actually see that we finally have some new tech. So we've upgraded over to restream.io. So I'm no longer recording this in a contained OBS, open broadcast system. Containerized system that I basically built out on my own computer anymore. We have a little bit more. So we're we're a little bit more on rails than we were. But at the same point is I don't have to spend 15 to 20 minutes before every show moving windows around. So that's been enjoyable.
And I don't have to psychically know what you're demoing on your screen. I can see it.
And you can also see what's going on now, which is fantastic. Holly, one of the things that I didn't actually show off when we were kind of doing the pre-roll is if we wanted now, we could have music beds behind the show. I'm queuing one up right now. So we can choose from lo-fi, chill, down tempo, chill hop. There's a whole lot of different stuff.
Yeah, if we need to have, your Microsoft 365 moment of Zen, the meditation in our show, then for sure we can do that.
I will probably not leave it on for the entire show. I have a feeling that might be a little bit annoying to some people, but yeah, episode 20, this is almost like an anniversary episode. I want to say that Chris Strong and I started doing these right around this time last year. We did one with John and his team from Obsidian in March last year. And it hadn't actually become a podcast yet, but we were starting to do more video-based content. And then we actually set up our Podbean subscription and we started putting together episodes regularly, once or twice a month, starting in April last year. So this is kind of a cool anniversary episode for us. We're closing in on 2,000 listens over the audio only version. And Holly, I did it. Did you watch the Word AI or the Word Copilot video that I put out? I promised this back in February, and I just got so busy with the expeditionary package that we've been building out for Copilot that I had not had time to work on it. But it's out there, so you can watch it over on the YouTube page.
Yeah, everyone check this content out. Scott and I were talking a lot about how there's a lot of that sort of signal to noise around Copilot. And one of the things I love about being able to have this platform to talk about Copilot, not only as a Microsoft partner, but also as a user of these tools and kind of seeing the real life, how these things really play out. And I think that being able to give the consultant flavor to all of these things is really important. So check out the content. If you are feeling like a lot of the content around Copilot is very much it's all varnish, find some realness in some of this content. I think that's kind of one of the tenets that I'm going to be living by as I do appearances and help out with this, is always giving that take of what we've really seen, what we really, really, truly see in a customer environment and how these things actually work as you're getting started with them.
Yeah. And if you've had a chance to check out the Outlook video I did back in February, you'll notice that hey, it's not just like that kind of typical Microsoft stilted version of a video. Like I try to
They're
have
always
fun
so
with it.
slick.
That had an office space kind of approach to it. This new one that I did for Word has a bee kind of like theme or a spring theme to it. And I gave off 4 different use case demos in there of how you can actually build documents, how you can create a document
Yep,
from a document, how you can touch up your own document and change the tone and
right.
how you can it's just a really cool video. Like, I know
Yep.
this is me, like, patting myself on the back here. I
Yeah,
had a
it's
lot of
great.
fun
I mean,
making it, and I'm looking forward to doing the
it's
next one.
it's great. Yeah, I'm gonna be leading some trainings for some customers coming up. A lot of our customers are just in pilot for Copilot,
Yep.
which is always fun to say. And so I'm actually leading real live training sessions on how to use these tools. And Scott knows and I know, you know, some of our customers actually come and watch what we're doing here. So I guess this is also my moment to say, hi everyone. If I told you
Yeah.
to check out one of these videos or podcasts, welcome.
Yeah, that caught me off guard a couple of weeks ago as I was in the middle of an internal meeting and someone said that one of our clients actually watched the podcast before they sat down and did one of our professional service engage with
Yeah,
us. And I was
that's
like,
great.
that's really cool. Like, we're making a difference, Holly.
Right.
Thumbs up all around.
That's right. I feel like, the podcast is a way to work with me in a way without having to have a full engagement. So
Yep.
that's also one of the nice things is being able to talk to our customers and anyone who's listening outside of projects, right? We really truly do sort of think about this stuff all the time, and this is an opportunity for us to talk about it outside of engagements.
Yep. And that being said, this is the excellent time to remind our
Yes.
listeners and our watchers that if you are enjoying the content, we would really appreciate if you could thumbs up the video, like, subscribe, tell your friends, take the link to this video and just drop it right in the largest team in your Microsoft Teams
Yes.
and say, hey, check these guys out. Maybe the IT team. I don't think that the entire
Yep.
company needs to know about us. But I mean, if they want to like and subscribe too, it does help grow the channel. And the channel has been growing quite a bit over the past couple of
Good
months.
deal. Yeah, if you have people that know more than the average bear, your early adopters, send them our way.
Yep, and stay tuned to the end of the show too, because we have an announcement about the future of this show and maybe something else that we're planning on
Yeah,
doing
some
here very
cool
soon.
stuff we're cooking up.
All right, so let's actually jump in. We'll talk about what we're going to do first. Kind of we'll go through the different sections here, and then we'll actually jump into our chapters and we'll start kind of doing another very
Yeah.
heavily demo-based show. So
Yes.
today we're going to be talking about what's the new Microsoft Planner? How do you get to it? How is the experience change? What's new? What's changed? What's the same? How does the new planner affect the other apps that I use,
Yep.
like To Do? We're going to be showing you, if you've never done it before, how to create a new plan, how to create a personal plan. Here it comes. Here it comes.
I'm so
A
excited.
personal plan. You can create a plan without creating a group. Finally, what year is it? 2024? We've been
Exactly.
waiting for this for I feel like 5 years.
Your IT
Um,
administrators hate this one trick, that's like the the clickbait of it all is it's very exciting actually.
yep. So we're going to review how to create a plan, what looks different, what looks the same, converting, and then we're also going to talk about the new options. So this is brand new, the premium options, the plan. So
Mhm.
Holly's going to kind of take the first part, and then I'm
Yep.
going to take the premium part. We're going to create a premium plan. We're going to compare how it's different to a standard plan, how Microsoft Project for the web actually ties into that or Project Essentials. And then we're actually going to talk about how Copilot's involved, and we're going to talk about the general availability of the new planner and
Right.
these new capabilities. So we'll pop right in. Holly, I'm going to take us over to the present stage here, and let's start talking about the new Microsoft Planner.
All right. So there's a couple of things. So first thing I want to mention right off the bat, this changes the changes that you're seeing here in all cases will be automatic. So some of you may already see this change to planner. Some of you may see some of it and some of you may still be waiting for it to crawl its way across your tenant. So don't be alarmed if you're not seeing what I'm seeing here today, but this change will roll out. There isn't a way to keep the old planner. We're all going to be put into the new planner and get a lot of these capabilities. Of course, like Scott mentioned, he's going to be talking about the premium capabilities, which you know have some licensing impacts, but this is something to keep in mind. So the first thing you're going to notice is the planner icon and name have changed. There is no tasks by planner and to do, which was always, really rolled off the tongue. This is a single app. Planner and to do are together. It's just planner. So you're going to see that reflected here. So planner in Teams, and I guess I should mention right off the top of this as well. This experience is happening in Teams first. So whether you're going to be using a plan in a team, you're going to be using the planner kind of personal app like you see I have here docked in Teams, that this is the experience that we're covering today. So the app in Teams, you can find it. If you don't already have it pinned, you can click on View More Apps. You can search for it. If you need to add it, you can. It should be there as a default experience. Once you have it open, you can right-click on that app and pin it. If you didn't already know, you can pin apps in Teams, so you can have that planner app
Yep.
pinned. So what's different? Not that much at first blush. You're going to see that you have some kind of smart lists, things like my day, my tasks, and my plans. So we're simplifying this sort of division between to do and planner separately, and we're sort of commingling them together. So a task is a task, whether it exists in a plan or it's just a personal task that you created in Outlook, or it's even just an email that you flagged. That's that's part of planner. And the really the why we're doing this is to simplify. You
Mhm.
know, we're not going to have this to do, planner, project, all these separate segmented areas or compartments. We're going to sort of merge them together or be able to look at them through a single pane of glass. So here under My Day, if you're not already familiar with My Day, that's okay. But essentially, My Day is a way to create a list of things that you can do today. So I often think like we all have a mountain of tasks that we need to get done. Some are due later than others, some are maybe overdue, but you can build a list of here's what I'm working on today. And you can compile that list of tasks from your to do, your personal private tasks, and even tasks that you have assigned to you in plans across the board. So that's kind of cool. Your My Tasks area, this is probably most representative of tasks that you have either your private, so anything private tasks refers to do, or something that you maybe made in Outlook or directly in the to do app. Assigned to me, these are things that you might have assigned to you in a custom list or in a plan. And then flagged emails, yes, that is still there. You can still, flag an email in Outlook and have it show up here. And then here's where you get into the My Plans area. So this is where we start to see this filtering of shared plans, personal plans, and things in your teams.
Mm.
So this is where Scott and I sort of alluded to the fact that you can now create a personal plan. And I want to show you what that looks like. You can see here my demo user has got a plan already, but I'm just going to click on new plan so that you can see if you and this experience, the one that we're looking at on my screen today, it does not have a premium license. And I want to show you this because I want you to understand this comes at your kind of your base license. You have access to Planner. You don't need anything special to have access to what I'm doing today. But some of the things that Scott shows you, yes, you've got to have that additional kind of premium licensing.
And you'll know if you have that premium license as
Because
well,
you'll,
because the tab actually, and this is something new that I feel like
yep,
Microsoft is doing, is typically you just see them kind of pushing you in that direction, but it doesn't work. You see like the little diamond up in the corner.
yep.
Holly doesn't have the license for right now, but you'll see when I have it is it will actually just show up automatically.
Yeah.
So
So look when you see here, I don't have a premium license for Planner. I have the ability to create a basic plan. I can create a plan just for me or a group plan, but I just have one option, one type of plan I can make, a basic plan. Whereas when Scott shows his screen, you're going to see I can create a basic plan or a premium plan, which is pretty cool. Standard templates, you can look. There are additional templates that are available. Again, similar to what Scott just described. Previously, they were showing premium options. So they would kind of dangle the carrot in front of me and say, like, ooh, if you want to make this type of plan, you've got to have a premium license. Now I kind of just don't see what I don't have a license for. So that's an option. I'm not going to use a template today. I'm just going to create a basic plan. And the first thing we're going to do, as we mentioned, as you saw, is we're going to create a personal plan because this is one of the most highly requested things that I have gotten in all of my years of introducing Planner to people is I love it, sign me up, but I want to make a plan that only I see. I like the structure. I like the buckets. I like the task cards. How do I make one just for me? And for the longest time, the answer was you can't. It has to be part of a Microsoft 365 group. And when you create a group, it creates a lot of administrative stuff happening in the background. It creates a group instantiation in your tenant, and that might include SharePoint resources, team notebooks, other things that get spun up automatically that we really just don't need when we're making a basic plan. So I'm
mhm.
going to make a plan here and I'm just going to call this my 5-year plan, right? So maybe I've been working with my manager or some people on some, career goals, things like that. But this is really just for me. This is just something I'm going to work on. Not all of you, maybe this should be more like a 5-week plan, but I'll change that. Maybe I don't want to have a plan that long. All right. I can add it to my pinned plans. And this is where I can see it says add to a group optional. Now, for those of you in the know, so if you can create a group today, previously, if you did this in Planner, it would say add to a group, optional. And you'd go, perfect. I don't want to add this to a group. I want it to be just for me. By clicking create, it created a new group. Or you previously couldn't do this. So if you don't have the ability to create a group in your tenant, you can still make a personal plan. So I'm going to create that. I'm not going to add it to a group, and I'm going to click create. This is a personal plan. I can see here that there's a lockup here. If I hover over it, I know my mouse cursor is big because I'm a trainer. It says private to you. So this essentially lives in kind of that, OneDrive realm of things. This is a Microsoft 365 resource that has permissions for me and me alone. And I can use this just like I would any other plan. So I'm going to just add in, we'll do a typical bucket. So I've got in progress and, or maybe let's do categorical. So this is a training task. This is a project task. And then I'll add one more bucket and we'll just do career dev. All right. So I've got some things that I want to work on. I'm going to add a task and I can do a quick add. And one of the things I need to do is get prepped for new podcast. All right. I'm going to add in a due date. I'm going to say by the end of this week. And this is where it gets a little silly. You could have, you're going to assign it to yourself, right? You don't have to, but I still will assign it to myself, right? It's typically that's it. This is really only gets necessary is if you share this plan with someone, right?
I
Still
mean,
outside of a
there are advantages too to assigning it to yourself and
yeah.
putting a due date in it, especially if you're a Microsoft To Do user like me, is then it will show up kind of under that plan tab that gets
Yes,
pre-created in there.
right.
I'm not sure because I haven't tested this. I know with a group, it'll send you an email. If it's a personal plan, I imagine
Yep.
is it probably won't send you a reminder
Right.
email.
Microsoft can be good about being like, if you, in my case, Alan, if
Mhm.
you create a task and you assign yourself to it, you probably know you just added a task.
Yep.
But I'm going to open up this task card. So I've got this task card that I'm working on, and there are all of the things you love about Planner. You can change buckets, you can have progress, you can change priority, you can put start and end dates. So, like Scott mentioned, if you want to view it against a schedule, that's why you would want to put that in. You can make recurring tasks. So, that, I mean, personal recurring task, worth the price of admission right
Oh,
there. Um,
status calls, reminding yourself that you
yes,
have a status call and other people in the group that there's a status call coming up and not
absolutely.
having to set it every week. Great as a project
It's
manager.
awesome. And you can do all of those things in a task card that you're used to. You can use tags in your personal plan. So let's just, maybe this is the let's talk. Here, let
Oh,
me,
you have
I
to
know, I got
rename
to
a
rename
tab.
one. So here,
That
we'll
is
just,
one of the things that still bites me a little bit in here
yeah,
is that you can't create your own tags easily. You generally have to rename the pre-existing
yep.
ones, but, you know,
So
maybe that's on the roadmap.
right? So I just tagged this. This is let's talk thing. And I'm just going to put this under training, right? Or I could put this under business development or something like that. And I have, this is me. This is just my plan. It's just for me. So really, I want my most favorite thing to say here is, for all of the years that I've been doing planner training, and someone has said to me, can I make a plan just for myself? And I've had to say no. I am so excited to say yes.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the number one questions I get when I'm working with Planner, and now you can do it. I mean,
And
I've literally thought about writing to some customers that this was a this was a hurdle for some people.
yeah, I
Um,
mean, from an administrator standpoint too, is like you have to remember that when you create a plan that's creating a group, is you're also creating a you're creating a team site, you're creating a Gale entry, a mailbox, like you're doing a lot on the background
right. It's a
that
big hammer.
yeah, and again, it's not necessarily our resources, so it's not a huge impact because it's sitting on Microsoft's cloud, but it is creating kind of those entry points and paths where there could be a file sitting there that someone
Right.
has access to that they shouldn't have access to. What if that person who created its account is compromised and they're saving things in there? Well, now those are accessible. So
Right.
it's just again, it's less groups is better, right? Like we're having conversations with an internal client right now that has 115 personal distribution lists out there. And they're like, why do we have so many distribution lists? What's being used? What's not? What can we turn off? What has mail coming into it?
Right.
And this stops some of those conversations because it never got created to begin with.
Right. And honestly, this has been probably not just through Planner, right? This is a big this is a big thing in any Microsoft 365 tenant, is group sprawl. And we know, and if you're a Microsoft 365 administrator, we know you've had demand for, be like, you need to create this group for me so I can make this plan, right? I want a plan. So we let someone have a group so that they can have their personal plan. Now they can just make a personal plan. And I liken it to, if anyone here is familiar with SharePoint lists or Microsoft lists, the super powerful tool that you can create a personal list right now that's saved
Yep.
in OneDrive. Um, and that was hugely, hugely powerful. Scott, you kind of said it, it's like, finally, it's 2024. We're here. We can have personal plans. But it's a big deal. So just so everyone's aware, that 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 dialogue when you're creating a personal plan, I hesitated on it because I know I have the ability to create groups in our tenant.
Mhm.
I know that add to a group optional previously meant oh, if you don't add it to an existing group, we'll make a new one for you. Now it does not do that. It just makes it private to you.
So, Holly, if I made a private plan just for myself, I used it for a year, but then I decided, you know what? I actually need one of my coworkers to help me, help work with me on this plan. I need to be able to assign her tasks. How is there a way to do that? I know that there's a way to
Yes.
do that, but can we show
Yes,
the audience how you can?
absolutely. So here's the place where I want to say that there isn't a lot of kind of like in between, but you can take a plan that you've been working on, and some of this could be like you described. Oh, now I need other people to have access to this. Or maybe you create a plan and you build it out, and it's you've worked on it for 2 weeks and now it's ready from a life cycle perspective to get added to the team or added to a group or create a new group. You can click on this view and add members option. So this plan, as you saw previously, private to me, my demo user Alan. I clicked on the little plus people icon up here, and now I can either create a group. So now here is where I can say, this 5-week plan, it's ready for prime time. And all I can do is add in people's names and create a brand new group. Or if I have an existing team that I'm already a member of, where I've built this plan out and now I'm ready to share it with the rest of my team, I can shift it out of my personal workspace into a team workspace. So I'm just going to go ahead and add it to my sales
Well,
and
real
marketing.
quick, Holly, too,
Oh
because
yeah.
this is actually an interesting ad. So if you go back to create group, so if again you created this for yourself and you were only using it for you, but you were starting to invite more people to it because you wanted to collaborate, you can
Mhm.
actually change the name of the plan here
Yes,
before
so
you
if
create the
you're
group.
like, "Ooh, I'm not." 5-week plan made sense to me, but it doesn't make sense to other people.
Yep.
I could change that name, and you can even change, you can, when you click that little pencil icon, you kinda get into, what it was before, but then you can modify it before you throw it into a group.
Yep.
Always good to know that you can do that, because I talk about this a lot in some of our sharing and kind of collaboration stuff. The things that make sense to you might not make sense to other people.
And
So
as an IT
that
system
that's my
administrator,
TED talk on naming channels in Teams.
as an ex IT system administrator, please use the description field when you fill it
Yeah.
out. So many groups and organizational units and identity information always just they skip it. And then no one ever knows what they're looking at 10 years later. So
Yes,
even if it's a short description, it's better than no description.
right. So I just added this to my sales and marketing group, and now I can see all of the people that now have access to this plan. So, and I'll just quickly show you here. If I go to Teams and I go to sales and marketing, now the plan doesn't automatically show up in some channel. But if I said I want to add, I'm going to click on add a tab and go to planner. I can use now the existing plan for our group, which is that
Nice.
plan I created. So I want to make sure that everyone's clear that there's one extra hop that you make to add that plan to a particular channel. All we did was we said, we've taken this plan that was private to this person and now made it available to this group. So if you want to look at it through your team, if you go in through the planner app online, whatever it is, you can get access to it now. So I'll add that to my team, and now I can, that plan that was my personal private plan is now available to my team and accessible to anyone in my team.
Great. All right. So let's talk about creating a premium option next. Give me just a second so I can get set up, and then we're going to walk through that step by step.
Excellent.
All right. And we're back from the break. I've got everything situated here. So we're going to jump in and we're going to start taking a look at the new options for creating a premium plan. And what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at how to create a premium plan. how it's different from a basic plan. So I'll create a basic plan and then we'll
Mhm.
create a premium plan so we can compare the differences. We'll talk about kind of those project capabilities that have been added in, as well as there is a license required for the premium plan. So we're going to just talk about what you're looking at there when you go into your admin tenant and want to add that on for someone in the future. We'll talk about custom fields. We'll talk about using it for resource management, setting goals, and then we're also going to talk about the ability to interact with Copilot within that plan, with the catch that you will also need a Copilot license as well. So let's dip back over to the screen and we'll start taking a look at that. And for anyone that's watched the podcast before and seen what a lovely job Holly does with the training demos, she does training for a living. I do not do training for a living. So please cut me a little slack if I'm a little slow or if I repeat myself on any of this stuff.
No, no problem. I think just right off the bat. So hopefully everyone can remember what the basic plan, kind of the basic license look like. So instead of one square when you create a new plan, Scott has two because he has
Yes.
the
So
license.
I think what probably makes the most sense is I'm actually going to create a basic plan here just so you can kind of
Yep.
see the differences. And actually, before I do that, I'll back up and I'll actually take a look at the templates, because one of the things that we didn't see when Holly shared earlier was the premium capabilities.
Yes.
So when I go into see all templates, you kind of see them in a more of a stacked list view. There's honestly really not all that many more there that were
Right.
there before. So we have a simple plan, which includes the basic options that allows us to create a list, a board, a chart, and schedule views, just like you can today using Planner. We'll
Right.
take a look at project management, which is going to add on some of those premium capabilities. So again,
Right.
you can create a basic project management plan with the exact same capabilities that exist today. When you want to kick it up to that next notch with a premium plan, is you also get the ability to have timelines, goals, people views, and more. So
Yep.
the key benefits here are really you're getting some of those project basic or project essentials for the web components added in. I'm going to
Right.
click through a couple more here just to see if
Yeah.
anything looks different. So commercial construction, notice it's only a premium option.
Right.
Software development has a premium and it has a basic option. It's interesting, Holly, looking at this. I don't know if this is just because it's new. So when I look at the flavors of software development and premium, it's got like this nice, lovely backdrop behind it. And then you
Yep.
click on premium and it's just very bland. And I don't know if that's intentional or if just as whoever was putting these screenshots together just decided that, oh, you know what? Well, this is enough. Same thing here as well.
I
Um,
think it's probably like that lowest common denominator, right? Like
yeah,
let's invest the visuals in the ones that everyone will see. And if you've got the premium plan, I guess, you know, you
yeah.
get the license, so you get to see stuff that other people won't. So even though it might not look pretty, you see things that other people can't.
All right. So we're going to create a basic project management plan. We'll call it a simple project management plan,
I like it.
not to be mistaken with the band from the early 2000s.
Or the Coen Brothers movie. Oh no, wait, that's not Coen Brothers movie. That was Blood Simple. I'm trying to think of. There's a great movie, if any cinephiles are out there, called A Simple Plan. Called
I will add some sort of
Cut.
visual to.
Seriously, Billy Bob Thornton. It's really good. It's it's a really great movie.
Okay, so I'm going to add this in, and I'm not going to add it to a group because I'm actually doing this in the live environment right now. So I'm
Mhm.
going to create it just as it is. So this
Yep.
will be a personal plan. Anything that you may see show up on the screen too, there may be some blurs added to that. But again, this created a basic, simple project plan. We have our grid view with some pre-created tasks and titles, due dates, monitoring buckets, all this stuff's already created. Our board view with some labels, our basic schedule, and then charts. So this is all things that you should
Right.
see today and expect.
And
So
one thing I want to add, anytime you use a template plan, don't think of that stuff as like, well, what if I don't need an initializing bucket?
mhm,
You can rename it. I look at templates in Planner as it's going to get you 80% of the way there. You're not staring down a blank canvas. but you can rename and customize a lot of this. So
Yep.
don't look at this as like, do I have to use this particular task or label or whatever? You can completely change what you need to.
Yeah. Even if it's not in the right order, you can literally just lift
Yep.
it up and move it around, which is great. All right. So I'm going to create a premium plan now. So again, I can just create a project management plan here again and then click premium, but I'm actually going to click into this premium tab because specifically I want you to see the Copilot in preview area here because you
Mhm.
cannot do Copilot on a basic plan.
Yep.
So I'm going to come through here and I'm going to create a basic plan with nothing on it, but it's going to be a premium plan.
Yep.
Now I'm going to click create and we'll let the hamster spin the wheel here. This surprisingly takes a little bit longer than the one that we initially created, probably because it's got some additional components in it. Certainly not because it has anything pre-built or templated into it, right, Holly? Um, I'm just I'm taking us off the screen here. It's taken a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is kind of one of the things, I guess it's always good to have that fireside chat moment where when you have the premium license plus Copilot capabilities, the the setup pieces or sometimes that draw up can take a little bit longer
Mhm.
than expected. Even I've noticed in Copilot just opening a file, sometimes where I'm like, open this file and let's get cooking with Copilot. Copilot wants to fully have all of its claws in everything that I'm about to do or could be doing. So sometimes just opening it up or creating things that invoke Copilot can take a little bit longer.
Yep. All right. Yeah, so we have our premium plan now built out here, and you're going to see some differences here. So let me enlarge the screen a little bit just so that you can
Okay.
see that. So again, I didn't create anything here specifically because I wanted you to see the differences and also because I want to be able to use Copilot here. So again, our simple plan is just a very basic task board. The premium plan is giving us some additional capabilities. So we can still see the grid view, the board view, but now we can also see a timeline view, which this is something that we typically wouldn't be able to see
Right.
in a normal planner board, which is a nice addition here. So we don't have
This
anything
is
built on it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw in this simple addition of a timeline, and it's like a Gantt timeline,
Mhm.
kind of what people are used to seeing. This can be the difference between using Planner for managing your work, whether it's a project, some other type of, work stream, and paying for a different tool. So if you want to really glom onto this thing that Scott's showing, the Gantt timeline, the planner basic, what you saw on my screen, what Scott's going to kind of compare and contrast here, what you get with the premium license are things that people who want to do more complex work management are hungry for.
Yep. And this is really where the planner meets project discussion kind of
Yep,
starts is
absolutely.
this is something that you couldn't do before. We can finally kind of do some waterfall and progression charting in a plan to, and we can even map dependencies to each other. So this
Mhm.
has been long asked for. Again, it does come at the requirement of basic level, like a P1 or a
Right.
P3 project level license. But once you have that, you'll have access to these capabilities. So if you're a project manager today, the likelihood is that you already have that today. This
Yep.
might give you incentive to start moving more of your projects in the planner, unless you're using like the the gigantic project experience,
Right.
the desktop app that doesn't exist anywhere else and feels like it
Well,
hasn't been updated since the early 2000s.
yeah. And this, an aside that I said I wanted to talk about a little bit here, and I don't want to hijack your demo too much, but this is just from working with customers. We previously had this continuum of tools. We had to do great personal task management. These are
Yep.
my tasks. This is my work, my flagged emails, private to me. We had Planner, which was quick, easy, like super fast adoption, kind of task buckets. lightweight task management. And then after Planner, we had like Project for the Web or Project Online, which basically no one really knew about. It was just was not well adopted or publicized. And then we
Yep.
had what Scott's talking about, that I have the installed version of Microsoft Project, and hats off to anyone who can use that tool proficiently. But that's the chasm that we were dealing with. You could have Project, or you could have this full blown Microsoft Project spaceship that you didn't know how to fly, and
Yep.
there wasn't a good like in between. And that gap was the opening for Monday.com, ClickUp. I don't know if you know any of, I always am like the ones that get advertised on podcasts.
Yeah, yeah, and I
Not
mean, I feel
ours.
like we have that discussion a lot of times too, at like entry-level security analyst, and then
Yep.
like the security engineer, the guy that knows everything. Is like everybody has to start somewhere in
Yeah.
that huge version, that Plan 5 version of Microsoft Project that
Yeah.
exists out there and has existed for years now in one way, shape, or form, whether
Right.
it be through a licensed model or a hey, you just bought it once and it's yours forever, but you only
Yeah.
get limited updates. Like but that project management program, it is very difficult to use. I've
Right.
used it, and you need to. There are a lot. It's like being an entry level Excel user or being the guy that's creating frog fractions in Excel or creating a video game. Like it's a lot of knowledge is required to be able to proficiently use that. But the
Right.
only way to learn is to dip your toe in. That's why there are the web versions of Project, and
Yep.
now that's why we're seeing it being
Right.
added into whatchamacallit, Microsoft Planner at this point, is so that we
Yeah.
can get
So it's sort
more
of like,
entry level project managers the tools they need to be successful.
yeah, and we know when we say Microsoft Project, for those people that have been working for years and years and years like me, when someone says like, "We'll use Microsoft Project," I get a little scared because even as a trainer, even as someone who knows the platform really well, Project has always been a more premium license, like an add-on license, and you
Yep.
have to be really knowledgeable to know how to use it. That gap between Planner and Project is just so big. And Microsoft technically had solved it with Project for the Web, but
Yep.
no
I
one
would
really
I
used
would not
it.
be surprised at all to see as development goes on with Planner and Project, to see them come more closely together. We've talked about this
Right,
on the show before, and to see that beastly version of Project start to fade more and more into
right,
obscurity,
right.
kind of like what's happening to the classic version of Outlook right now, which
Exactly.
originally it sounded like would be, kind of on its death knell by like 2026, 2027. I read a report last week that said that it may still be around in 2030
I know
because there is so much
this
resistance.
is gonna be kind of a cold head dead hands conversation around Outlook,
Yep.
unfortunately. And most of that is because Outlook is Outlook, right?
Yep.
It's like if you make fundamental changes to that lowest common denominator solution that everyone uses day in day out, like you've got to you've got to be ready for it. And so Microsoft, we've seen it with OneNote. When Microsoft was like, we don't want to support installed OneNote anymore, the education world revolted. So
Don't even get me
so we
started
still
on
have
OneNote.
OneNote that you can install. So
I
those changes are big.
I use the old version of OneNote for years, and then they started moving to the Windows 10 version. I was like, I'm usually resistant to change, but I'm just going to change over because I don't want to go through the strife of having to
Yes.
change later and get used to
Yes.
everything. So I changed to the new version, which was the UWP app, I
Yeah.
believe. And then they got rid of that app, and I
Yeah.
had to switch back.
It's it's a little bit like we get to go through, on the consulting side and the partner side get to go like we always try and stay ahead of the existential crisis, right? I started using the new Outlook because I was like, I need to be over it by the time we start talking about this with our customers. And even I've had those moments where I'm like, I really want to switch back right now just to do this one thing that doesn't exist here. But like all things, it evolves. That's something that we can bank on. And so one of the things that I would call out from the premium side of the house is this is new. It's just hitting the streets. Microsoft isn't done developing it. We're going to continue to see evolutions and changes and servicing to it. But
Yep.
that, like Scott's on the timeline view, that right there could be the difference between someone asking you for a Monday.com subscription or you adding a premium license to that person's account in your tenant, keeping your data in a place where you can find it and own it and manage it.
Yeah.
Or if you've had to tell people no, you cannot use ClickUp. You're stuck. Maybe now is the time to revisit that conversation to say, okay, we can get you a premium license. The good thing as well, you can you can do it piecemeal. Does everyone need a premium license to be assigned a task in a premium plan?
Nope.
Nope. So you could reserve those premium licenses for your project managers. People actually have to
Absolutely.
manage the plan and the resources, et cetera. You can give them a license, they can still assign tasks. And as a resource, I don't need a premium license to see my tasks.
And as we've talked about on the show before, like from a personas perspective, who do we feel is a good persona for a Copilot license? A project manager. So
Yes,
again, you're pairing those things up together.
absolutely.
So we got a little sidetracked and
Yeah, sorry.
tangented
I
there.
knew I sorry. I had to get on my monday.com soapbox.
It it's okay.
Um,
We're gonna jump back in here. So we're looking at the
Stepping
timeline
down.
view. Charts again. So this is something that is inclusive to the simple plan, though we will see that it does look a little bit different in the premium version of that plan. So just again to kind of go back to the premium version, we can see charts and we can see, yeah, so that actually looks quite a bit different. So something that's new to the premium plan is the goals option. So the ability to add a goal in here. We're going to come back to this, but this is kind of that KPI type goal is we're setting goals for the team. You can set them one by one, or you can set them hierarchical. And we'll come back to that in a moment. So the last option here is assignments. I can't load the assignment grid because I don't have anything plugged into it quite yet. But what we're going to do is the next option here, and give me one sec as I click the tab for Copilot and Planner. So we're going to start talking about how Copilot adds to the new premium planner. I'm going to create the Copilot. I'm going to click on the Copilot icon here, and it kind of introduces. So, hey, welcome. This is Copilot. This is how it works. And it's going to give me the get started option here. I actually haven't clicked this before. I haven't seen this prompt, so I'm going to click it. So this is just going to show me, hey, it can build a plan for me. It can add tasks. And it's also going to have those kind of contextual prompts for create goals to grow the business, add tasks for users, create buckets for roles and teams. So I'm going to click on build a plan for my Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 release. The plan should be an 8-week plan with, and I'm hoping that this is going to work because I'm trying to build a really strong prompt here.
This is actually good. Watching a good prompt in Copilot. We need a goal, we need
The
context, we need a source,
plan
and we
should be
need
an 8-week plan
expectations.
with buckets for training and champion enablement for knowledge creation. Anything you want to add to it, Holly?
No, let's see what we get. So this, I think it's always like sometimes if you don't write the most perfect thing in the first, you see what it gets and then you can set, you can change the expectations.
Yep. So it's working on the request right now. So it looks like it's actually going to come through and build me a plan. It's gathering resources. The hamsters are spinning the wheel.
Mhm.
Applying the finishing touches. All right. So it created us a basic plan, or so it looks like it did. Your session expired. Please refresh. So I'm going to
Try
refresh
it.
the plan here, and we're going to see
Okay.
if it actually did anything.
No.
All right, so we're building the plan here. It's creating a Copilot launch plan over the course of 8 weeks. I gave it a fairly simple prompt here, so we're going to see what it comes back with. The goals here again is that you wanna prompt it, but you want to be specific enough, provide goals, tell it what to do, but not be overly specific that you confuse Copilot too
Right,
much.
right.
All right, so we got a plan here. So we're going to take a peek at it just real quick to see what it looks like. And I'm going to expand that window out for the YouTube audience. So we can see that it created us a number of different tasks here. Define the scope of the launch, create a timeline, assign roles.
Mhm.
And then as we go into the board settings, we can kind of see where it set those buckets up. So fairly basic right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Copilot and I'm going to say, add a task to draft a status mail. We'll let it add this task. And then we'll prompt it a couple of additional times here. We're going to create buckets for team roles. And then finally, because we looked at that goals section, is we're going to create some goals to help grow the business. All right. So we've set up a basic plan here again in the premium option. So again, we've kind of got that additional task that we added in.
Yeah.
We can see that we asked it to add those additional buckets, and it did that as well. So we have quite a few buckets there. And I'm
Right.
just going to drag some of these tasks around so that we have a little bit more of a visual of what it's going to look
Yep.
like in some of the other areas. So we haven't defined any timelines here yet, but we could, and that would expand this section out. And you know what? Maybe that actually makes sense that we add some basic dates and times here. So again, big change here too is
Right.
the task card looks significantly
Dependencies.
differently. So we've got dependencies, start finish dates, durations, completion percentages. We have options to change to the sprint here. So we only have the backlog option.
Yep.
And then we can also add effort to it as well. Now,
Right, and
I'm
this
not
is
a project. Yeah, go ahead, Ollie.
well, this is essentially, I think the sort of, the like, I am not a lawyer tag, like I am
Yep.
not a project manager. So planner, when we worked with the basic thing, I'm not a project manager. This is some of this stuff, some of what we're talking about, effort, percentages complete, task dependencies. If you're not a project manager, this might this might be overkill for you. You might be like, I don't know what any of this means. I'm never going to use it. I
Yep.
just need basic tasks. A project manager, on the other hand, whenever they're looking at planner, this what we're seeing on the card, this is the stuff that's missing in their life. They're like, I can't use this tool. It's not complex enough, right? The other thing, aside from asking if we can have personal plans, are there task dependencies, right? Task dependencies for projects are huge. And whenever I tell people I've got them like 85% of the way sold on Planner, the second I tell them that you can't have dependent tasks, they're like, shucks, guess I can't use Planner. So
Yep.
now again, at the premium add-on, Planner becomes very usable, and it's good because like I said, what your project manager needs and what your project resources are able to comprehend and use, this is a very good like happy medium workspace.
So we're going to add a goal on here as well.
Excellent.
We can see that that's connected. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to close that. And now we will go back over to the timeline view. And now we can actually see. So here's the create a timeline as well as the organize a launch event. So we can kind of see that. Again, it's not the best project plan in the world, but it gives you ideas if you're a project manager and checking this out, what you can do with
Right.
some of these additional tools.
Yeah,
So we
it's
also
sort of
added a
the
number of
marriage of
different.
that simplicity of Planner with the robust
Yep.
things that you need.
So we added some additional goals in here as well. So we can see that the ones that Copilot created us, and then we can see that I created kind of like a sub goal under the create intro communication. So
Yeah.
we've got these two pieces tied together now. And then when we come over to the view assignments, we can see, hey, how many are assigned to Scott? How many are assigned to other people on the team?
Yep.
But again, that kind of gives you the basic idea of what you can do with Copilot to help kind of save time when working with the new planner.
Yeah.
Again, this is a private plan, but if I wanted to, I could add this to an existing group and then I can invite more people to it, or I can create a brand new group to have people kind of onboard into it, and then it creates that larger group with the additional infrastructure out there behind it.
Yep.
So, Holly, anything additional that you feel like we missed when we were kind of creating the plans and bringing planner and project together? Anything with Copilot?
I think the big thing to keep in mind is the segmentation of the licensing, right? If you have like an E3, E5, basic Microsoft 365 license, you have Planner. Planner's available to you. You can start
Yes.
using it. I talked about To Do. That's also available to you. There's mobile apps. You can get started with Planner. The premium features, you get premium templates, you get premium options to work with your plans. So things like timeline, resource management, goals, dependent tasks, those things that, if you're a project manager and you just need a little bit more, we can give that to a project manager now through premium licensing.
Yep.
You don't need, just remember, a project resource does not need a premium license to be a member of a premium plan, right? If I'm the project manager, I need to see the timeline. I need to do the resource management. If I'm assigning a task, you don't need a premium license to be assigned a task.
And
So
remember
that's,
as well, when we're talking about premium licenses,
yeah.
if you're a project manager today, chances are you may
Yeah,
actually
if you
already
already
have that
have
project
a
license. So
project license,
yeah,
you're
you're
you
gonna
you
end
have
up going
access.
into Planner and just seeing that that option is
Yep,
there when it rolls
yep.
out. And that kind of leads into the last piece here is just talking about general availability.
Yeah.
So, from a general availability standpoint, this started rolling out in targeted release about a month ago, and it's been
Mhm.
rolling out to more and more folks through the month of April. So, we're April 16th, 2024 right
Yep.
now. So, by the time you're watching this, you may actually already have the
Right.
ability to go into Teams, search for Planner, or maybe you already had tasks for to do in Planner.
Yep.
Who
The
named
worst
that?
worst name ever. I mean, it's sorry
um,
to the planner product team at Microsoft, but
But
it
yes,
it was
chances
a
are is
horse
that
built by
it
committee.
may already be available to you today, so check it out in Teams.
Yep.
Again, the base functionality has changed a little bit. It's got a new kind of icon to it, but the premium capabilities that are there are really taking it to the next level. One other thing worth highlighting too is so there's Planner right now, there's Project right now, there's To Do right now, and probably other task management pieces that
Yes.
exist, like Microsoft Lists, for example. All that stuff today is not going away any time in the near future. Microsoft did an AMA on this not all that long ago, and
Mhm.
they have committed to the features that they are adding to Planner are eventually going to come to Project on the web. So some of the stuff that you saw today with the premium plans that will make its way over there. Some of the basic features will start to move in. There's no long-term plan at the moment, at least that they've announced that anything is going to get retired. I asked the question, what's happening to Microsoft To Do? I don't want my To Do to go away because I still
That's
use it and
right.
I still
We
plan
love
on
it.
using it. But it doesn't sound like any apps are going to be retired. I think that what'll be interesting is, do they take some of the capabilities that they're adding into Planner, into Project, and does that somewhat start to come over to your to-do
Right.
license as well?
I kind of
Um,
see it kind of being more like the morph transition, that
yep,
we're starting here with all of these products, and they'll eventually kind of all turn into, one work management tool called Planner.
yep,
But, you know, being bad at naming things aside, Microsoft is really good and cognizant of managing our adoption experience. They don't want to incite panic and tip over everyone's help desks by, ripping the rug out from all of us, because we know in our organization you may have a lot of people that use To Do and not that many who use Planner, or vice versa, right? So we
yep.
don't want to tip over one experience for another. But one of the things that I really see the win here is it's going to bring more, potentially more people into the fold to use Planner to keep your data in your tenant. You're not going, this might, for some organizations, might be another way to consolidate the work that you're doing into Microsoft 365, keeping it in within your secure tenant so that you don't feel like you've got to, you know, people aren't looking for third party solutions.
Yep.
I don't want it to come off as, like anti-competitive, right? Microsoft's been talking about that, but it's sort of, we know, and we work with lots of people where we've showed them Planner and they were like, if it doesn't do dependent tasks, I can't use it. And we get it. We get it. You have to be able to do your work. And so now it's sort of, we're saying it's time to take another look. Like, it can do it now. Let's re-examine what we're offering in our organization. And one other thing that I want to talk about from the Copilot side of the house, this ability, right? So if you have the premium license and you have Copilot layered on top, you're going to be able to do some really, really amazing stuff here, contextually in Planner. So if I have a general idea of the amount of tasks that I want to create and I can describe them, the buckets that I want added, Copilot can do it like that. And you're not stuck, building single task after single task after. It can draft, it can build a
Yeah.
really great
And
first
I
draft of
mean
a plan.
that's what Copilot's for, right? Is it's not there to do the work for you. It's there to help you
Right.
do it faster.
I know, and that's kind of one of the things that I liked about that, where I'm just sort of, I look at it like I don't have to make the bucket. I can say, okay, now make these 4 buckets, this,
Yep.
and this. And it just like does it. I still have to know what buckets I want. I still kind of have to be able to be the person in control, but the Copilot layer on top of Office is just, it's it's so important. So I think the new Planner plus Copilot is, now we've really got something. Now we've really got
It's getting there. And I mean, I think that that's going to be the real value of Copilot over time is like
yeah.
we've shared our thoughts and feelings on how it performs today. We've kind of showed some real world demos on the YouTube channel of how it can work, how it should work. And
Mhm.
for someone that has a Copilot license and is engaged in,
Right.
I have it for a year now. We bought it is I'm watching it evolve over time and get better, but I still don't necessarily feel like in every aspect that I'm
Right.
completely happy with it. But I think that the amount of time that it has saved me, like in Teams and Outlook, and even like
Right.
in Word recently, where I was capturing in that video the ability to build a document from a document like
Yeah.
that did save me significant time.
Right.
But it's just where we are right now with generative AI
Mhm.
is it's adding value to what we've already fed it. So it's the garbage in, garbage out thing again. But
Right.
I feel like, and I'm starting to hear more and more about this as I read the internet and I listen to other podcasts, is eventually I'm worried that we will hit a wall with it. And it'll be that's as good as it's gonna get until we
Right.
hit general AI, which is the general artificial
Right.
intelligence. And it's
Right.
actually it's hopefully not the Skynet thing of, oh, well, the computers are firing the nukes on us because we're the threat. And it's just, it's
Right.
going to be helpful. It's going to be helpful in the
HAL
workplace.
9000
Yes.
is, wasn't in 2001, but it could be in 2031. But
I do not think that that is coming anytime
no,
soon.
not at all.
Um,
But one thing I will add is, and this is a concept that we've been talking a lot about. If you are really proficient at using a particular app, so Scott, if you were the best planner, I'm so good at using Planner, I can build buckets, I can build tasks, I just know all the tricks. Copilot might leave you feeling that lacking feeling, right? It didn't do what I wanted it to do. It's not the way I would have done it. And that's where I see that we have that dissatisfied feeling, because I was thinking about that with
yeah.
PowerPoint, right?
If you're a power user today
I'm a
is
power
off.
user, right?
Yeah.
But
If you're a
I was
power
thinking,
user and you're trying to use Copilot, oftentimes you feel a little bit disappointed because you didn't
but
get
if
exactly
you
what you
didn't
wanted.
know anything, if you're like, I don't even know what to
That's,
click, but I could describe what I wanted it to do and it
yep.
could do it and do a pretty good facsimile to my description, it's amazing. I built a set of slides the other day. I used a document that was set up with headings and subheadings, whatever. And I said, use this document to make me a PowerPoint. And I was looking at it with an audience. I looked at it and I go, "Well, I mean, it's okay, I guess. It kind of
I know
worked or
exactly what
whatever."
you're
And
talking
other
about.
people were like, "Oh my I don't even know how to, I'm really bad at using PowerPoint. Like that's amazing." So it is
Yep.
kind of the eye of the beholder. So really think about it that way. I'm really proficient in some Office apps. Some, I could be a little better, but being able to tell Copilot what I'm trying to do and have it do it, if I didn't even know where to begin, like it's amazing.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I think from the planner perspective, if we have project managers watching, you might look at it and go, well, I could have done that. But for some people, if they really don't know where to begin or what to click or how, Copilot can take care of that.
Yeah, and I mean, in a lot of cases too, if you're a project manager and you're setting up 5 new projects a day, like, that takes time, 10, 15 minutes out of your day to create the buckets and assign the tasks and add the people. Like, you could give Copilot a very specific prompt, and it could do a lot of that stuff for you, and you could
Yeah.
potentially even build a template for your
Yeah.
project and then just copy that
Absolutely.
template over and over again. So,
I think the world of possibilities, is just kind of been cracked wide open, not just with the new planner and some of the new app updates that are coming this year, but I think the Copilot layer,
it's
every month I kind of learn a new angle or have a new way to frame
yeah.
it, and it's pretty
It's
cool.
it's it's only gonna get better over time until it
Yes,
finally hits the
right.
ceiling, and when it
Right.
hits the ceiling, I think that that's where the concern is right now, is how much
Yep,
higher can it go?
right.
And, from a power user perspective, I think that we live around the ceiling a lot of times, and that's why when it doesn't it's like, "Yeah, it did it, but did it really do a good job with it? How much
Right.
more time am I gonna have to spend cleaning it up based on or
Yeah,
versus how much time would it just take me to do it myself?" And that's kind of where the quandary is right now, is it's good,
right,
but it's not quite good enough for everyone, but for most people, it is absolutely just fine and even better than that. So, I certainly
right.
don't wanna seem like a detractor from the Copilot
No,
experience.
not at all,
I
not
just
at
think
all.
that it is a preview experience still that we're paying for,
Yep,
and it is gonna get better over time. I mean, they just plugged ChatGPT for Turbo into it, and I have
yeah,
noticed even when I'm doing web queries now, like, it is getting me better responses, it's getting more accurate
that's
data,
very
it's
precise.
understanding what I'm asking, and it's doing a great job of when I follow up on a prompt, and we haven't even talked about Copilot Notebook on the show yet. I
I
think we could
know.
spend a whole episode
Yep,
talking about prompting in Copilot Notebook. Is that I used that last week or the week before. That's super. I really like Copilot Notebook. I'm gonna start using that more often for my
right.
Copilot prompts.
Right. I think with anyone who has that license, I one, I'm working with groups right now to help people find that sweet spot for them because I think it's really unique for each person. The things that you're doing day in and day out with Copilot where you're like, I am so glad I can lean on this tool versus what I'm doing could look really different. Different apps, different purposes. So we're just trying to work with a lot of our organizations to figure out like no matter what your role is, no matter the kind of like, the highly repetitive kind of like tasks that you have every day, things like that. Like I've found that I use like there are certain tools that are in Copilot that are very high mileage for me and others that are lower mileage. And it could be look totally different for you. But I mean, I think you're right. I think we are some people like us, we've been working with these tools. I lead training on it, right? The ceiling is a little closer to my head in some ways, but still far off in others, right? I think that there are things like like the partner coding with Copilot, things like that. Like that's, of course, I would need someone else to tell me how that is.
Yep,
But I absolutely love it. And yeah, the possibilities are huge and it's kind of fun to kind of be, yeah, 20 shows in and have this like Microsoft has, blown the door wide open again on what the possibilities are for this year and the coming years.
for sure. Well, let me lead us out. But before I do, we did talk about that. We had an announcement at the end of the show. So I wanted to talk about that real quickly. So Holly and I got together. So we actually tried to record this podcast twice last week. The first time we just had some conflicts on Monday. And then we tried to re record on, I think it was Thursday of last week. And then Microsoft's demo tenant was down. So
Yes.
we had an opportunity to kind of just get together, talk a little bit about where the
Yeah.
show's at, where the show is going, what else we want to do. And one of the things that we're both really passionate about is just staying in the know and helping customers stay in the know.
Right.
Because we get a lot of questions like, "Hey, where did this come from? I've never heard of this before. This rolled out, and all of our end users weren't expecting it." So one of the things
Right.
that we kind of collectively came together and discussed doing is, rather than stopping this show, because we do like doing this show, even though it is a
Mhm.
little bit longer, is doing a shorter, more condensed kind of digest version of this show. Let's call it the Let's Talk Message Center show, or
Yep.
Message Center Digest show. We don't actually have a name for it just yet. But we're planning on starting doing in about 2 weeks here, beginning of May, is a once a week, early in the week episode that will focus specifically on news and information that came from Message Center.
Yes.
And what we're going to do is we're just going to do maybe 4 or 5 Message Center announcements a week. Most of the time, probably, as Holly and I discussed, it will focus
Yep.
on modern work. We discussed security, but Microsoft has a kick the can mentality on the security announcements a lot of
Yes.
time, where they announce it and then it doesn't come out for 6 months after the
Yep.
announcement date. So it'll probably still be focused on modern work. There'll probably be a little bit of Intune layering into that as well,
Yeah.
just because there was good
Absolutely.
development happening there. But yeah, we'd be excited for the folks that are on this
Right.
show to join that. I believe what we will probably do for the audio podcast is we will put that up into the normal feed, but we'll give it a slightly different title so that hey, I don't want to listen to this show, or hey, I specifically want to listen to that
Yeah.
show because it's shorter form format.
Yeah,
Take us
yeah.
to the gym, listen to us while you have your coffee in the morning, take us on a run. But yeah, so we're going to be focusing in on that. We're going to be showing
Yep.
pictures when available of what the Message Center posted,
Right.
and maybe, hey, they're making a change in Teams and it's going to be a visual change. That's what it'll look like. So keep in mind that that's going to be coming over the next 2 weeks. Again, we don't
Right.
plan to stop doing these shows. That's going to be an addition, and on
Mhm.
the YouTube channel, we'll make a separate playlist for those. So
Right.
if you're not wanting to focus in on those as often, and don't always think that it'll be just me and Holly. We plan to bring other people on the show as well,
Yeah,
just to kind of keep it
absolutely.
fresh, similarly like we do at Let's Talk. But yeah, so that's
Yeah.
coming. Very excited.
Yeah, we're both Message Center is underused hero in your tenant, and so I will sign my name to anything that builds more awareness of the fact that everyone has access to Message Center. You can expand your use of Message Center, and you can be in the know. You can know what's coming to your tenant, when it will happen, before it affects your users, before it affects your help desk, and yeah, so tune into that as well.
Yep. So closing us out, if you want to learn how to take advantage of Microsoft Planner, or how Virteva can help take your organization to the next level with both managed and or professional services, you can contact Virteva by emailing us at letstalk@virteva.com, or by visiting our website at www.virteva.com. If you want to learn even more about Microsoft, you can subscribe to our Microsoft 365 newsletter by visiting our website. The newsletter recaps a handful list of topics each month and helps keep you in the know about recent announcements and news that are coming out of Microsoft. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist on YouTube called Let's Talk Clips, which was recently introduced. And it's basically shorter clips from this podcast episode. So if you don't have time to listen to the entire, as I'm looking at it, hour and 20-minute podcast right now, but you only want to listen to that 1 7-minute segment, you can check that out.
Yep.
What I've been doing as well is I've been taking those clips and I've actually been releasing them like on an every other day basis, or an everyday basis, usually starting around like Thursday or Friday through the weekend between shows, to kind of, keep some fresh content out there. So again, if you don't
Yeah.
have time to listen to the whole thing, more of that stuff comes out over time between the shows. Holly, thank you so much again for coming on
Of
the show.
course.
I always appreciate having you here, and I'm really looking forward to the next project that we're going to be working on.
Yeah, as always. And yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. See you all in the next one.
Yep. And don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. It really helps the show. Thanks again, and take it easy.